So I want to talk about a statistic that surprised me, quite frankly, in a good way when it comes to Jasmy that I saw kind of recently. Now, nothing I say is financial advice, and I'm not telling anyone to do anything. This is purely my perspective, but let me explain what I saw recently. So not that long ago, I saw something called Sentiment. They made a post, right? And in the post, they were talking about projects seeing the highest week over week rises in their network's whale transactions. So they're talking about 100 grand or more in terms of the dollar amount. Now, they say amongst projects that have basically over 100 million in terms of market cap, where does Jasmy rank? Again, when it comes to that, actually, Jasmy ranked number 3 in the world. Kind of impressive because it indicated, again, in regard to the highest week over week rises in their network's whale transactions, 100 grand or more, Jasmy again was ranked number 3 in the world, and the increase was 950%. Now, this was a post made almost a week ago, but I still found it pretty impressive because, again, we have to take a look at what overtook in order to achieve that ranking. It actually overtook Render. Keep in mind, Render is a project out there that's really known for its focus on AI. And then we see this. I mean, again, Jasmy overtaking that. That's pretty impressive. And we have to think about this. Whale transactions. Like, again, that means some individuals out there that are kind of, having a big presence when it comes to the space. I see some of them, at least in a sense, from this statistic, somewhat showcase that they care about Jasmy because they're not, how would this type of stuff be possible? Now, what does that indicate? I think that may indicate that, even at a time like this, Jasmy isn't completely just forgotten about. Now, granted, though, people like to tell me that, when it comes to Jasmy, nothing's really going on. But here's the thing. If I take a look at it, actually, in my last video, remember, when I was talking about Jasmy and the amount of holders was almost 99,000, now it's actually at 99,000. The next logical step, maybe if it were to even increase, would be 100,000. And if, again, Jasmy could reach that 100,000 sort of milestone, I think it would be somewhat of this needle mover, right? In terms of changing the sentiment, maybe in a hypothetically good way, because sometimes 100 grand, if we see it like kind of reach that or cross that, it's just kind of this barrier sometimes that if we see reached, or like, oh wow, just that type of feeling. Now, also, if I take a look at it, Jasmy, surprisingly, again, according to those parameters that I mentioned before in regard to sentiment, it actually overtook Chronos. Pretty impressive. I mean, again, when it comes to Jasmy, it may not be the most popular project out there, but sometimes activities like this, I think, may showcase something. It may showcase where some of the tension may be at, even during times when the market isn't doing the best. Now, granted, as of right now, Bitcoin, it's struggling to exceed 80 grand, right? It's not really able to kind of cross that as of right now. But even if it did, I don't think it would just be an automatic sort of positive reaction to Jasmy like that. We might hypothetically see, somewhat a change in sentiment, maybe a couple percent, who knows, but I'm just saying. But I think for anything really sort of to what we saw previously, even kind of close to that, I think Bitcoin would need to maybe somewhat stabilize at around 100 grand. But even then, it would take time. Hypothetically, we've seen historically speaking, because it usually takes quite some time to see that hypothetical capital rotation. But I don't mind, though, because Jasmy is an altcoin. Sometimes it does lag behind. But I don't mind, though, because I kind of felt like, you know what, I was willing to accept that heading into it. So I wasn't like upset or angry or something like that, because I'm not. But also on top of that, if I take a look at it, Jasmy, as of right now, being still at around a 280 million market cap, basically almost. The thing about that is, it's not like it became ranked 300th in the world or whatever when it comes to this space in terms of market cap. That's actually not the case. It's still top 120, keep in mind. It's ranked 118th currently. In which case, actually, the market cap being this kind of low, some people like to say, it makes it that it's around 7 times lower than where it was back in December of 2024, which may seem kind of, I guess, not such a good thing at first glance, but at the end of the day, If it could go back there, I mean, again, we're around 7 times lower than that point. In which case, Bitcoin is not around 7 times lower than where it was back in December of 2024. But yeah, besides that point though, if I take a look at Jasmy, people like to say, well, the market focus that it's focused on basically is kind of done for. They like to say no one really cares about it. Well, really? I mean, okay, people like to say that the narrative when it comes to Jasmy is done for. Does that mean the narrative that Filecoin, Arweave, Scicoin, and Storj, or should I say Storj, when it comes to those projects that are really focused on data storage, does that mean their narrative is also cooked? A lot of people would say no. Keep in mind, right, if I just want to use an example, let's take a look at Filecoin, which is a project that's focused on data storage, primarily speaking, and it's just way bigger than Jasmy. That has around 154,000 holders. I mean, do a lot of people think it's cooked? I'm sure some do, but those holders, I don't know if they necessarily think that Filecoin is cooked. Now, if we take a look at Arweave, for instance, now Arweave is a smaller project than Jasmy. It's also primarily focused on data storage. Do a lot of people think that's cooked? A lot of people would say no. If we take a look at, let's say in the case of Scicoin, right? Again, smaller than Arweave, which inherently also makes it smaller than Jasmy as of right now. Do a lot of people think that's cooked? A lot of people would arguably say no. And again, Arweave and Scicoin is smaller than Jasmy. So what, Jasmy is suddenly cooked and they're not? I don't know why that would make sense, but besides that point. Now we take a look at Storj, which is kind of the smallest out of all the other ones I mentioned before in terms of market cap, of course, within this space. That has actually more holders than Jasmy, surprisingly. I mean, it has almost 103,000. If I take a look at that right there, again, I don't think the narrative when it comes to data storage is necessarily done for. So if that narrative is considered good for other projects, why is it suddenly any different when it comes to Jasmy? Again, Jasmy primarily focused on data storage, but also let's keep in mind it does have Junction, which is a layer 2. It's an incubation project under Jasmy. I get it, Junction has its own token, but I'm just saying, if Junction maybe had some popularity, it wouldn't surprise me if some of it maybe hypothetically trickled down somewhat to Jasmy. And also on top of that, we take a look at Jasmy's presence in Japan. Many team members we've seen historically that were a part of Jasmy, I mean, they've had like work experience in places like Sony, for instance. So I think that's pretty impressive. So I don't think that when it comes to Jasmy, I just want to give up on it like that. But that is just my personal take when it comes to this. But personally, as of right now, I'm not looking to chase other projects. I'm not trying to find new sectors for me to believe in. That's not me. I'm just sticking with the projects that I'm already a fan of, and that's it. I'm just waiting. I'm going to stick with the ones, again, that I've been believing in for quite a while, and I'm just going to stay consistent with it. I'm not trying to chase other trends. I'm not trying to find the next micro cap out there that could do this or do that. That's not me. I'm not looking for that. Personally, all I'm looking for is just to stay patient with the ones that I'm already patient with, and that's about it. So I want to say thank you for watching, and hopefully y'all stay tuned for future videos. I'd greatly appreciate it, and hopefully y'all have a nice day. It's Malik the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.